Good morning, everyone. My name is Joy Xie, and today I'll be talking about from Wugs to clubs. What are Wugs and why you should start a club? So I'd like to start off my speech with a quick poll. Raise your hand if you've ever taken a language class, either through school or SBCC. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Now, keep your hands up if you're only doing so because your parents told you so or because it's for required credits. Yeah, so my first experience with language is probably similar to most of you people's here. I started off pursuing my required foreign language credits through SBCC's Spanish 101, 102, and 103. I'd spend my Friday evenings copying down the week's worth of vocabulary lists. And if you've ever taken an SBCC's language class, you'll also know the feeling of hand cramps that came with it. So I didn't like it. And I thought I would never like language. That is until I discovered linguistics. So during my sophomore year, a family friend told me about these linguistics competitions where you're given some language problems to solve within an allotted period of time. So I Googled a few of these and they were really fun, turning the previously tedious memorization I thought language was into an interactive puzzle. But it's hard to describe these puzzles without actually seeing one. So let's do one right now. I've adapted a problem from the North American Computational Linguistics Open Competition. The language here is Malagasy, which is spoken mainly in Madagascar. Now, most of you have likely never heard of this language, but that's expected, because the problem writers try to choose languages that contestants don't already have any background information on. And there are a lot of things you can figure out about Malagasy just from these 5 example sentences alone, like sentence structure, word order, how to form the past tense. But for the sake of time, let's do something simple. So, what's a word for tortoise in Malagasy? The last 2 sentences are the only sentences that have any mention of tortoise. And if you look at them, you'll see that they share 2 words in common, which I've highlighted in blue and purple. However, the blue word appears in all the sentences, even the ones without any mention of tortoise. So we can conclude that the purple word is the one that means tortoise. Well, anyway, I looked up a few of these language puzzles, and I enjoyed them, so I shared them with my friends, who also enjoyed them. But I'm not sure if I would have created a linguistics club right then. Except the next day, my friends were waiting for me with a full list of names. They'd gone and told everyone about this linguistics club I was supposedly going to make, and even promised candy for everyone who put their names down. So you see, I had no choice but to make a linguistics club, and no choice but to buy a giant bag of candy. So, and now I've realized that I haven't really told you what linguistics means. So let's do a quick interlude. What is linguistics? Well, linguistics is a study of languages in general. And that's quite different from studying, say, a single language, like French or Spanish. Because as a linguist, you'd study the overarching patterns of language as a whole. So let me give a few examples. You could study the field of phonetics, which has to do with how we humans make sounds in our mouths. Let's do a quick experiment. Say the words potato and circus normally, how you would say them in a sentence. Yeah, thanks for the engagement, guys. So, what if I told you that they have the same vowel? Now, in writing, they don't appear to share any vowels in common. But if you say them out loud, you can hear the same sound in potato and circus. This sound is called the schwa, And it's a default sound that in English, where your tongue goes to for an unstressed syllable. You could also study the field of child language acquisition, which has to do with how children learn languages. So let's do another quick experiment. What's a plural of wug? A wug is this guy right here. And don't worry if you've never even heard of a wug. Just go with your instinct. Yeah, exactly. So even if you haven't seen this word before, you'll likely say wugs because you've seen enough English words to know that most plurals in English are formed by just tacking that S on the end. But at what age do children notice this pattern? That was the premise of the famous Wug test experiment by Jean Berko-Gleason. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what linguistics is. And back to Linguistics Club. It started off small, with just a few people, and none of us, myself included, knew much about linguistics at first. But more people joined, and we learned together. Each week, I put together presentations on different topics in linguistics. And because I'm a visual learner, to make them more fun and engaging, I added a lot of fun drawings and interactive activities, some of which you've seen in my slides today. And through these presentations, I realized that any academic subject can be made engaging and fun. I know it must sound cheesy, but learning is important. It's a path to your future career and happiness. But I also know that it can sometimes feel tedious. Like, say you're in that geometry class and wondering how all of these shapes will ever be useful in your future. So that's when you put your own twist on it. If you enjoy origami, for example, you can think about how those shapes that you're learning about can inspire your next creation. Because learning is fundamentally a personal journey. So don't be afraid to make it just that, personal. And after 2 years of founding my own club, it's something I look forward to every week. For me, it was very rewarding because I got to see the community that I helped start and take off and grow. My club members and I went from complete linguistics noobs to absolute linguistics nerds. And the people were the best part of it. Today, they've become some of my best friends, and they've allowed me to appreciate our diversity. Because the people in my club are what make it come alive. Each meeting is a chance to learn from one another. And just as language can't exist without people to speak it, Linguistics Club can't exist without its members. And similarly, clubs on campus can't exist without all of you. As a former clubs commissioner for the Dos Pueblos leadership class, I may be biased, but one of the best things about DP is its vibrant club community. Here you can find clubs for almost every interest, from art to public speaking and beyond. And even if none of your interests are represented in the clubs at DP, you can easily make your own. So I hope my journey with Linguistics Club can inspire all of you to seek out communities of your own, whether you're a freshman who hasn't found your niche yet, or a senior passionate about the activities you love. Because everyone has their own unique interests and talents. And finding a community that shares those passions in high school can transform your high school journey into something truly fulfilling. Thank you.